Today we're doing one of my favorite things ever to do on this channel, and that's talking about taboo subjects such as sex, masturbation, and periods. I asked you guys to ask me some questions on Instagram. I've done a lot of these videos in the past regarding sexual health, so if you want to check them out, I'm gonna have a playlist down below and at the end of this video. Also, this video in particular is super exciting because in the history of me making all of these videos, I've not had one sponsor or they've always been demonetized because it is, again, such a taboo subject. But today I have a very exciting sponsor, and I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Naturcare for sponsoring this video and working with me and for allowing such safe spaces for women like me to talk about subjects like these, to normalize them, and to also break the stigma. It's super important. So throughout the video, I'll be talking a little bit about their products and also answering your questions. So let's get into it, right? The first question is, what do you use, pads, tampons, or menstrual cups? So personally for me, I have a very irregularly regular period. It's only 3 days and every 40 days. It's been like this since I was 15, and going on and off birth control has kind of like made that more irregular. So personally for me, I've always only had to really use panty liners, and so I know that there are so many different products out there, but because my flow is very short and not heavy at all, I don't really find the need to actually use so many different period products. Next one is, do people masturbate when they're on their periods? For me, absolutely. Again, like I said, because my period is light, there's not much of a mess, so it's easier for me to do. And I find that your period usually comes, from a lower part of your vaginal region, so clitoral stimulation is quite usually very clean. And not only that, but when you have sex with yourself, which is what I would call masturbation, it's probably even less. It's also a very easy way to contain the mess because it's just you and not another body, I guess, rubbing against you. So I definitely have even used my own sex toys to pleasure myself, because sex with yourself feels amazing. Masturbation feels amazing. It helps relieve cramps, it helps reduce stress, it helps you sleep better, it increases your sex drive and helps maintain it. So there's a lot of benefits, and whether or not it's messy, sex with yourself on your period is a very normal thing and something that people should talk more about. That's what this whole video is about, honestly. Is wearing panty liners or something very often the cause of the discharge that's bad for your body health? I think this was okay, so I think that panty liners aren't the cause of bad discharge. Discharge is very normal. It happens to everybody, and the thickness or the consistency of it, as well as how much and the odor of it, can always vary. If you have it a lot, like a profuse amount, and if it's very odorous and has a strong smell, that could signal a medical condition, and I would recommend checking that out. But for the most part, light discharge every single day, that's pretty much kind of mild and fragrant. Mild and fragrance is pretty normal. It's super normal. But overall, wearing panty liners on a day-to-day basis is bad for our body's health because so many of the conventional leading period products are packed with chemicals and fragrances that really irritate the skin, and also the backing of the panty liner doesn't allow for the airflow to come in and can also help breed bacteria. And that's where Naturcare comes in. Naturcare is the world's first leading brand of organic and natural period products that are chlorine-free, perfume-free, plastic-free. They're biodegradable, vegan, compostable, and overall just a way more sustainable option for the environment and for our bodies. They're so much kinder to our skin. The panty liners I am currently using are the curved ones, and I really like these because they really fit well onto my granny panties, which is what I'm wearing when I'm on my period. I also love these ones, which are just like the normal panty liners, which come individually packed, so you can easily put this in your purse or just anywhere on the go. I often keep these in my car. They're also widely available worldwide in stores like Whole Foods, Sprouts, and other health food stores, and you can get them on Amazon. I get mine from Whole Foods, and I like that they're really affordable because typically a lot of these organic or natural sustainable period products are typically on the higher end, but I find that Naturcare is one of the more affordable ones. So Yay. What are the best birth controls to stop or lessen your period? So I was personally on Nexplanon, which is a birth control implant, for 3 years. I have a whole video on my experience, the side effects, what I think about it, but ultimately it's at your discretion if you want to do it. But that is a birth control that typically lessens or gets rid of your period for the duration that you're on it. And I'm also on the pill right now, and you can just skip your placebo week. But personally for me, I like having my period. I think that it's a natural, it's not even I think, it's a natural biological function of our bodies. And I think that there's so much stigma around it being dirty or unhygienic and being seen as a nuisance, but it's a natural, beautiful part of my body, and it's a good way to know I'm not pregnant. And it's just part of the cycle. Like, it's literally, I consider it my moon cycle, and I think it should be more celebrated. So for me, I am just trying to actively really reclaim that and see it as a beautiful thing. I'm scared of tampons and only wear pads. Is there any way to overcome my fear? My mom personally didn't allow me to wear tampons until I had quote unquote had sex, and that didn't fly with me. So what I did was I asked my best friend at the time, who had been using tampons for a while, to literally help me insert it. She wasn't, putting her hands up there, but she was in the bathroom with me trying to figure it out. So I think the best way you can kind of get rid of that fear is to really have someone hold your hand, someone that you love and trust, and someone that you're close enough and intimate with enough that will kind of guide you through it. I know that helped me a lot. And also to just really educate yourself on the fear of tampons. I know that there's a huge both rational and irrational fear on toxic shock syndrome, which is when you leave the tampon up there too long and you can get very ill from it, but it's super rare, and oftentimes you're not going to forget, and you can also set an alarm for that. And tampons don't typically hurt unless you are a virgin, but even then, with the correct insertion method, it's totally fine. But I totally relate to you, especially if you've never used a tampon. I still feel kind of guilty every time I masturbate, even though I'm quote unquote old enough. Any tips? So I had an overwhelming amount of questions asking about how to not feel guilty about masturbating, and a lot of it was regardless of age, regardless of anything. It's just, I think as women, we are taught to feel very, very guilty and ashamed for masturbating. And this is not only socially, culturally, politically, this has to do also with our religious beliefs and our spiritual beliefs, because in many of those, it's kind of seen as immoral or as something to be looked down upon. But I think that this, like many of the things that we're taught in life, is kind of just a programming that's really passed down to us. Because I want to break it down for you. Do you come out of the womb just organically thinking that you are a bad person? Do you come out of the womb organically having money scarcity? Do you organically come out of the womb thinking that you're of less value because you have sex? The way that I can really help you reframe your guilt is think about, are you hurting anyone by doing this? Are you hurting yourself? Are you hurting society? What about it really is a bad thing? I think that sex with yourself is a very healthy thing. It is a way to explore your sexuality, to understand what you like and what you don't like. You are the safest person that you can have sex with because it's your body. And as a feminist, it's not about man hating or taking down the patriarchy. It's more so critically analyzing why it is a dominant party is allowed to do a certain thing and another party isn't allowed to, right? Because it's sexual oppression of women, but also that, it's seen as very normal. It's kind of like an trite, overused, cliched joke that men are just seen to be as always jerking off, and that's okay, whereas women are not allowed to do that.
Editing Amy here. I also wanted to say really quickly to think about how women are often sexualized but are not allowed to be sexual, meaning that women are so often vilified for being actually sexually active but are often portrayed in the media and culture as sexual objects. And we see this a lot in just TV shows and music videos and stuff like that. So think about that as well. It's it's such a paradox and so contradictory contradictory.
My overall answer to this is think really critically about where this guilt stems from, where it originates, maybe from your mom, maybe from your religion, maybe from your cultural beliefs, because many of us come from very patriarchal backgrounds. And then also to challenge it, to really challenge this belief. Are you harming anybody? Are you doing some bad thing with it? Like, are you harming society? But this is a very normal thing, so I feel you as well. How old were you when you started masturbating? I started masturbating when I was 16. What to do if you can't seem to make masturbation feel good? So a lot of things with our sexual activity come from a mental aspect. If we can't relax, if we can't get there mentally, so much of sex is like such a mental act because it requires a lot of relaxation, a lot of calm and mental stability. There's a lot of negative programming for women to feel negatively about their sexual activity. So I think that the biggest thing is you need to calm your thoughts and calm your anxieties, and also whatever you might be doing for masturbation, like try different methods, try different techniques. Maybe you don't like penetration, maybe you like clitoral stimulation, maybe you like a vibrator, maybe you like humping, maybe you like something else. There are so many different ways to masturbate, and the best way I would say to help you feel good about it is try as many as you can. Optimize your masturbation because like I said, sex with yourself is super important. Do you chart your cycle? I just started doing it, but I don't know a lot of people that do. Absolutely, I started charting my cycle as soon as I got a smartphone because there was an app for it. So I have been tracking my cycle for about, I would say, a good 8 years, and I really recommend it. And every time you change your phone, a lot of the iCloud history, I don't know if that's how it works, just transfers over. I think it's super beneficial to understand your body and to see if there's anything wrong with it. And it's also a really great way to track your moods because I will know why I'm feeling extra sensitive or emotional if it's, you know, PMS week or if I'm on my period. I'm actually on my period right now and I've been crying a lot. How often do you masturbate? So when I was not in a monogamous committed relationship, I would masturbate maybe like 2 to 3 times a week. I primarily did it for my mental health because if I knew that I was a little bit more sad, I knew that it could increase my happiness. And I also used to masturbate a lot when I couldn't sleep because after you orgasm, it just puts you to sleep like a baby. Even now, when I don't see my partner for more than 2 weeks, I definitely masturbate. When did you first purchase a sex toy? Do you have a sex toy? So yes, it's notorious that I used to have them around everywhere, but I got my first sex toy when I was 18, and yeah, I think that everyone should have one. You can get one off Amazon. You can get one at Brookstone. They're packaged as neck massagers, but you know what they really are. Thoughts on pubic hair and sex. Do guys care about pubic hair? Do girls? Does anyone? So I think that similar to our periods, there's a huge stigma around having body hair, and I think for me personally, I don't like having body hair for either me or my partner, and I think it's just because like growing up Asian, the men in my family had like no hair. So seeing hair on bodies until I started dating outside of my race, I realized like, oh wow, like people are really hairy. And now I'm definitely more like open to it. Like I'm okay with me having my hair out and him having his hair out. Like it's totally, as long as I guess it's like equal, like I think that it's totally fine. I don't think there should be kind of like a double standard for women to be extremely hairless and men to be just like out and about all the time with like so much hair around their bodies. It's so natural and it really does help catch and track the bacteria coming into your vagina. So I think that it's really truly a personal preference. I think if guys care about your pubic hair in a negative way, I think that they should also really think about their programming, and is it a double standard for me to be completely hairless but you're okay with having a full bush, and to challenge that in your partners for whoever says that women shouldn't have hair. What to do when your boyfriend doesn't like giving you head?
Get a new one.
In all seriousness, I genuinely believe that sexual activity should be equal. So if he doesn't like giving you head, I don't think that you should be under any obligation to be giving him head. But again, like you don't have to force anyone to do anything that they don't want to. I'm a huge believer in that. But I think like maybe ask him why. What's the reasoning? I think the reasoning is more important than the actual like act of doing it or not. Like, are you doing it because you think it's gross, that I don't deserve it, or that women should have, I don't know. Just ask him like, why do you not like doing it? And if he just thinks it's dirty and gross, then like I guess you should be like, do you think it's dirty and gross when I give you head? You know, I don't know. I just really challenge these ideas. Do you watch porn? So I had never explored the world of porn. The way that my gateway porn was watching beautiful, aesthetically filmed like GIFs on Tumblr, and when I found one, I found all of the other blogs, and I had like a secret porn Tumblr, and I would just like reblog all of my favorite ones, and I liked them a lot because they were often like more poetic, more, you know, just more almost kind of like when the rom-com ends, and I love rom-coms. So after I kind of was like masturbating to that type of porn, I would like sometimes find videos on Tumblr that were also shot in the same way, and then I eventually moved to other sites, and there are videos like Xart, which are very like targeted towards women. So and then after that I just moved on to full-on Pornhub, and there's a lot of porn I don't like, and then there's a lot of porn I do like. How to let go of your trust issues and just have casual sex. If you have trust issues, I highly don't recommend having casual sex, because that means that there is a lot of unresolved wounding, emotional wounding around a lot of different topics. So it could be very complex, and so I would highly suggest like even really learning to heal all of that and really to confront your trust issues, because trust issues are very valid. And secondly, casual sex is not for the faint of heart. I don't recommend casual sex for most people, because I do believe that there is an element of emotional unavailability that is required to have casual sex. Now that I'm older, I realize that sex is a very intimate and vulnerable experience, and it's not that, you know, you shouldn't have sex casually because you know, you're seen as less of a person or your value is tied to your sexual activity. It's more so that sex is a very intimate and vulnerable experience, and you are really entering a space that you need to feel safe. And a lot of times casual sex, it can be a toss-up whether or not it's safe or not, and I've definitely experienced that. I've definitely used to have a lot of casual sex, and there were times that I didn't feel safe and definitely had to walk away. So I think that you just have to feel safe and respected, and also to have full-on communication and consent. So as long as you feel all of those things, I think it's okay. But I think spiritually there has to be a level of like, this is what it is, not anything more than love or connection other than the physical aspect of it. I also believe though that casual sex can be very liberating and empowering, especially as a woman who might have been beat down by these beliefs or by these misogynistic beliefs that you're not valuable if you like have a lot of sex. So I think it can be liberating and empowering to you know, explore your sexuality, but then I think there are a lot of repercussions on which it can go wrong. But as long as you feel safe, respected, and you can be vulnerable with this person, I think casual sex is totally, it's like a doable thing as well. And I've definitely learned a lot from my time of having casual sex. What should be the first thing you do after you have sex for the first time? I 100% recommend going to the bathroom and peeing. You need to pee because you can get a UTI after. And just to clean up the area, I usually take a shower with my partner to just get all the stuff off, and it's like the most, I think, efficient way. But if you don't have time for that, I also love these NaturCare Intimate Wipes, and these are pure organic cotton wipes with organic rose, and these are super portable and convenient and really easy to just like carry around. So I think, yeah, pee and just make sure you clean up the area so that it doesn't get infected or has anything like that. Does it hurt through penetration when it hits certain spots, or is it just me? So this is a question I actually asked a couple of my girlfriends, because I do often find that certain spots do hit me, do hurt me, and I think that this is very normal. Like, I asked the majority of my girlfriends, and I know that's very like anecdotal, but they have also said the same thing. And I think that it really just depends on the tightness of your own vagina, which of course varies a lot. And I used to think it was only because of like like really large penises, but I realize it's more about the spots, and that changes all the time when I have sex. Like this spot will hurt sometimes and another spot will hurt another time, but that spot will be okay this time. So it's really a toss-up. I think it's very normal. I'm not exactly sure why this is. I probably should have Googled it before I answered this question, but the answer is yes. How do you want your boyfriend to treat you during your period? I personally want to have sex the most when I'm on my period because I am hornier, I'm more emotional. It helps relieve stress, menstrual cramps. You're also highly lubricated, so it's also more pleasurable in my opinion. Yeah, it's definitely more pleasurable if it's lubricated. I really love to have sex on my period and I highly recommend it. Put down a dark towel and just try to calm your mind with all those thoughts that it's messy and weird and stuff, and just try to really get rid of that stigma, because sex on your period can be amazing and is usually amazing, I feel. Is there a right time to lose your virginity? I kind of feel pressure because I'm almost 20. I have a whole video on having sex for the first time. I had sex for the first time at 20 and I did it when I was ready and I have no regrets. And the only reason why we feel pressured or weird or whatever feelings we have about our sexual activity is definitely just societal construct. But if I didn't answer your question in this Q&A, it's probably because I've already answered it in one of my previous ones. So again, I'm gonna have it linked down below and in a playlist at the end of this video, so check it out. And if you want to be featured in this video for next time, be sure to follow me at Amy_Lee. I always do a story asking for your questions, so if you want to participate, and be sure to check out Natural Care. They're available again worldwide. I'll have a link down below, so check it out. Yay! Thank you so much for watching. Bye.